Before we begin, we want to acknowledge that some stories and discussions in this episode of Radiant Resilience may touch on sensitive and potentially triggering topics. These may include themes of progressive vision loss and disability, childhood medical diagnosis, depression and anxiety, false hope and toxic positivity, and ongoing grief. Our goal is to share real life experiences in a respectful and empathetic manner, offering insights into the complexities of the human spirit and the journey towards resilience. However, we understand that some content might be difficult for listeners. We encourage you to prioritize your well being and discretion when deciding to listen. Please remember this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice or support. If you find yourself needing assistance, we urge you to seek help from qualified professionals or trusted support systems. Your mental and emotional health is important to us. Thank you for your courage and for joining us in a space of understanding and compassion. Welcome back, everyone, to Radiant Resilience. I have with me today Laura Bratton, and I think that she has a pretty inspirational story for us to hear today. Laura, at the age of 9, was diagnosed with an eye disease and faced the difficult reality that she would become blind. Over the next 10 years, she experienced the traumatic transition of adjusting to life without sight. Laura adjusted to her new normal and was able to move forward in life as she graduated from Arizona State University with a BA in psychology. She then was the first blind student to receive her Master's of Divinity from Princeton Theological Seminary. She is the author of the book Harnessing Courage. Laura found UB Global, which is an organization that provides speaking and coaching to empower all people to overcome challenges and obstacles with grit and gratitude. Welcome, Laura. How are you?
Thank you. Great. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm so excited to hear your story. So I'm going to let you start with age 9 and move on from there and tell us your story, and we'll talk about all the things.
Yeah. So there was one defining situation at the age of 9 that completely changed the course. So life was going one way, and then because of this one doctor's appointment, life went a completely different way that no one was expecting. So up until and even through most of the age of 9, life was very normal, very typical. I was a healthy child, no health concerns. And then both my parents, especially my mom being a teacher, noticed that I was just holding books a little bit closer to my face.
Okay.
Or in the den, I would just always choose the chair that was closest to the TV rather than just normally on the couch or just wherever. It didn't really matter where I was. I was being very deliberate on the place I was choosing.
Okay.
As a 9-year-old, I wasn't aware of any of that I was doing that, but my parents were. So they made me just a routine pediatric ophthalmology appointment. We just did it in between second grade and third grade in the summer, just to get glasses or contacts, whatever is needed.
Yeah.
And keep going with our healthy little normal lives.
Yeah, they probably just thought, oh, she just needs glasses, right?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. That was the only train of thought.
Yeah.
Because the history of blindness was nowhere in my family. So that was the furthest from our thought.
Okay.
So I still, in my mind's eye, can see this and just hear the doctor's voice. So I did the appointment. I read the big E, most of the letters on the chart, dilate your eyes. Then they doctor looks in your eyes. And after they did all of that, I was sitting in the chair and my mom was sitting over to my left. And I just can remember the doctor, he just was rolled back in his chair and just looked away from me and looked directly at my mom and just very serious, very concerned, said, there is a major problem going on in her retinas, and I have to refer her to a retina specialist. We have to address this.
Okay.
So my mom's instant reaction was, okay, sure, make the referral. We're getting ready to start a new school year. We'll do it sometime during fall break or Christmas break. We have time off from school.
Still probably not thinking that it's going to cause.
Oh, maybe, yeah. So he again said, no, you don't understand. You're not going to eat lunch. You're going to leave my office, drive directly to his office, and I'm going to make sure he works you in during his lunch to see you today. This
Oh,
is
wow.
something serious is going on.
Okay.
So that was the moment where obviously my mom got it and called my dad and said, leave work, meet us at this retina specialist office. The gift of me being a 9-year-old was that I cognitively knew and heard him say all that, but I couldn't emotionally process what the future would hold.
Yeah.
And I say that was a gift because it was like I wasn't aware of what my future would, I couldn't fear the future yet because I didn't know what that meant. All I knew then is I could see. So I guess this is how life's always going to be
Yeah,
as a
sure.
9-year-old. Fast forward a few months, then that was endless doctor's appointments, blood drawn, my blood sent literally all over the world.
Wow.
And I ended up with a specialist in Emory in Atlanta, and a diagnosis couldn't be made. It's just a super rare retinal disease that the cells in my retina started to deteriorate.
Mm.
And all they could say is, we know they're going to deteriorate, but we don't know at what rates and like how old she'll be. We can't tell you it's going to be next year, when she's 20, when she's 50. We don't know anything. We just know the cells in her retina are dying. The rest of the eye is fine, but it's the cells in her retina.
Okay.
Again, I remember that conversation very vividly. And my response was, Mom, can we go to Starbucks now? Like I literally that. And she's now we can laugh. My parents can laugh at that. Like, we just had our life changed in 30 seconds, some of his parents, and you're sitting there asking us for Starbucks.
Yeah.
But again, that was the gift of a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
When it became real was when I was at the end of middle school. So between 9 and about 14, I didn't lose much sight, just a
Okay.
very minimal amount.
Were you having to go to the doctor often then to get your eyes checked or?
No, that was only like once a year, because
Okay.
once it was discovered, there's nothing we can do at that point. Genetic testing was not where it was now. So there
Mm,
wasn't constant testing. It was
okay.
just constant blood work in the beginning.
Okay.
Like that summer, my veins were completely
Oh,
shot. I mean, with either arm, they just physically could not access my veins anymore because I had so much blood drawn.
oh man.
But once we were through that, there wasn't really further testing because nothing was available.
Okay. Okay.
So again, my parents are living with this reality, the emotional reality of knowing what's coming. And I really wasn't, because again, I'm a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, I can see.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's just life. When it became real for me was, like I said, at the end of middle school. I was in geography class, and the teacher just said, like he said every day, pull out your notebook and start copying down the notes that I put up on the board, like new vocabulary words and definitions.
Yeah.
So I pulled out my notebook, like I've always done, on my desk, grabbed my pen, and I looked up at the board, and all I could see is like black. It almost looked like shadowy blobs.
Okay.
There was really nothing defined. Like it certainly wasn't letters.
Okay.
So I looked down at my notebook, kind of thought, oh, that's weird. Maybe there's something wrong with the print.
Yeah.
I was, again, not thinking my vision. Looked back up at the board, and it was the same thing. So then I looked around, everyone around me is just writing down notes. So I thought, okay, maybe they're just writing down the words they know we have learned in geography class recently. So I asked my neighbor, how are you copying down the notes on the board? Are you just writing down words? There's nothing there.
Oh no.
Her response is what changed my life. She just so casually leaned over and was like, Laura, what are you talking about? The print is completely normal.
Was she aware? Had you talked to any friends or anything about what was going
Yes,
on?
they knew. Again, they knew that, okay, I had to use large print books sometime. I would sit at the closer to the board in front of the classroom.
Yeah.
Again, they couldn't grasp, just like myself, because of our age, the reality of what could happen. They just knew, oh, she just needs to sit at the front of class.
She just has bad vision.
Exactly.
Okay.
She just has bad vision, no big deal.
Okay.
So they did know that, but not at all, hey, she's getting ready to lose everything. So when she said that, from that moment forward, I could not deny the reality. Oh my gosh, I am losing a significant amount of sight. This is life changing. This is really what that diagnosis at 9 became real to me at 14, 15.
Okay. So did you go home and tell your parents then, or?
Oh,
how did that go?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Because everything had to be adapted.
Yeah.
I could no longer read my textbooks. I couldn't even open my locker.
Oh, wow.
Remember, like the where you had to match up the numbers?
Yeah, the padlocks. I hated those things. To be fair, I could see, and I still couldn't get my freaking locker open half the time because I just never got it. I had to do it like 4 times to get it
arrow. Right. Yeah. Couldn't do that anymore. Just as far as walking around, if I was walking down the hall and you were coming towards me, it wouldn't be obvious that I couldn't see. So my mobility vision was still good.
Okay.
But my up close print vision was not good at all. And my depth perception was starting to go. So again, that's why those letters look distorted.
Okay.
Because my depth perception was going.
Okay. So what was that like emotionally?
Denial.
Yeah.
That was my immediate response was, oh, this isn't that bad. Oh, it's definitely not going to last forever. I'm just going to pray my way through this and I'll just wake up and magically have 2020. I'll just manifest my way through this and my vision will come back in no time. Oh, this will be done by high school.
I think there is definitely something to be said about toxic manifestation because we constantly are told, you think about it, you pray about it, you visualize it, you do all these things, and you're gonna be that like miracle person that all of a sudden you're gonna wake up and see one day and your whole world's gonna be back to normal.
Yes.
And everything's gonna be great. And then there are just some things in life that is not going to fix.
Right. And that gave me so much false hope. Because I truly got my hopes up and believed if I really pray enough and do the vision boards and manifest like I'm supposed to, I was convinced it will come back because I'm going to pray and manifest. Yeah. So that was so much false hope that actually hindered the emotional healing process. Okay. And that's why I went to denial first, was because I thought if I just pray hard enough, if I just believe hard enough, it's going to come back.
And at that age, I think you probably still don't have the tools to properly process what's happening to you.
100%. Yeah. It is still that like fairy tale world of, oh, I'll just get what I want.
And you don't have any real life experience.
Right. 100%. So after the denial wore off, it was the mindset and just, I can't. This is too hard. It wasn't not so far. It wasn't the anger. It wasn't the why me, why this is happening to me, my family. It was just, I don't have the strength. This is too hard. I don't have the strength.
That's so tough at that age.
Yeah.
And how are your parents taking it? That had to be hard for them too, to watch you go through all that.
Incredibly hard. So this is one of those situations where we can have 2 truths at one time. So it was incredibly difficult for them, and they had to go through their own grieving process. And the gift they gave to me was they were very realistic. Yes, this is uncertain. Yes, this is terrifying. And we're just going to take it day by day. We don't know what the future looks like. We don't know how to navigate through this, but we'll just take it day by day. Yeah. And so that was the gift they gave me, is I was screaming at them and praying and crying myself to sleep at night saying, I can't. They were just very steady and just, I know, but we'll just figure out tomorrow. All you have to do is wake up and get dressed and eat breakfast for school tomorrow. Like literally, we took it that small segments in those first couple of years. It's like, okay, just focus on getting up, getting a shower, getting dressed, and getting breakfast, and then we'll figure out the rest of the day. So just taking it hour by hour, that gave me strength.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great way to approach a lot of struggles, right? Just like the next step in front of you.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. That is how they worked through that with you.
Yes. That was, again, I didn't recognize that gift as I'm going through it. I'm a teenager.
Yeah.
So I didn't recognize. I was like, y'all are mean. Y'all should just feel sorry for me and let me stay home for school. I interpreted that's not very compassionate. But what I realized is that was the greatest gift ever, because they didn't have one older brother. So they didn't treat him one way and me another way.
Okay.
It was just, we're both their children.
Yeah.
They didn't lower their standards for me. They just made accommodations where accommodations were needed.
Okay. So you said you were thinking, I can't do this. That was your thought process. So what did that look like to you? Do you remember in your head? Like, is that just not going to school? Is that what was, I can't do this? What did that look like to you?
So the way that looked like was extreme depression and constant living in a state of panic attack.
Okay.
So that I can't was the emotional response was just that extreme depression and anxiety of, so yes, I did keep going and getting up and going to school and trying to get through the day, but inside emotionally, I was shutting down. The depression was so overwhelming. The anxiety was so overwhelming. And even through in those high school years, in these times where I'm saying I can't, my parents were saying, okay, we found a counselor for you. We're going to have this therapy session and just have you go and have a safe space to talk where obviously we're not in the room. So you can say what you want to say. You don't have to say what we want you to hear. And I was like, I don't need a counselor. Nothing's wrong with me. Because again, it was almost such deep depression, anxiety. I didn't even recognize it as that. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Again, at that age,
you're so deep in it, you don't even realize it.
Yeah. And a lot of that stuff ends up being hindsight's 2020, right? There's been so many times in my life that I've been in survival mode and never realized it in the moment until after the fact. I'm like, oh, I thought I was coping well, but I wasn't coping at all.
But I was barely surviving.
And high school is so hard anyways. It's such a tough age. There's so much going on in school and it's just really hard. Plus you're going through puberty and all that stuff too. So I can only imagine how difficult this was added on top of normal teenage things as well.
Because I was trying to do both at the same time. To keep up with all the normal, just being a normal teenager while going through this major change.
Yeah.
And that was just so overwhelming.
And this was progressive. So you said at 14 is when you really noticed everything started really changing. So what age do you remember did it completely go away?
By the end of high school, I had a very small amount of usable vision. I still had, strangely enough, I still had my color vision. So I could still see color.
Interesting.
I know, it was very weird, but very limited sight. Then in college is when it definitely went to what I have now, just light perception. And what I mean by that is being able to know, okay, I walk outside, it's sunny, it's cloudy, it's rainy, it's, it's dark, it's night. Being able to tell the light, but no defining images within that.
Okay. So as you're going through this emotional process, you're also not totally to the end point yet. And so I could see where in your mind, you're like, no, this is still not happening. That just drug out the denial process for way longer.
It did. Absolutely. Because at each point I was like, oh, it's going to stop here. This is the amount of, okay, I can handle this. Okay. I'm used to this. It was like at each point I I don't think I assumed cognitively. I was hoping emotionally, okay, this is all it's going to be.
Yeah.
And
And
it,
then you're having to start over the processing
right,
every single time you
right,
realize it's getting worse.
100%. Yeah.
Ugh. And that's so, I feel for young Laura. Like that is just,
Yes.
I just can't even imagine having to go through that over. And then, like I said, while trying to navigate real life stuff.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Trying to
oh,
graduate from high school.
yeah.
What is the future look like? Am I going to make it through English and Spanish class? Just all the typical teenage things.
Were you a good student? Or did you get good grades or?
I did this was another grief process. In high school, my track was I would be honors AP classes because of my vision loss and those classes being so intense while at the same time I'm learning Braille and having to
Oh.
use the technology that's available on computers, then I was not able to keep up with the honors and AP classes, not cognitively, but like just legit physically.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is an honors class, if you had to read triple the amount of work than another class, I just physically didn't have the time to do that because
Yeah.
everything took me so much longer. Where cognitively, and I was on track to be taking all those classes, I had to drop back to the lower level classes, just the regular ninth grade classes, ninth grade taking active classes. And what I mean, where the grief process came was that was another form of loss because
Yeah.
I constantly knew, oh my gosh, and this is a teenage girl experience. Oh, all my friends are in those honors AP classes. Those are the classes I'm supposed to be in. But because of my life experience, I can't be in those classes.
Ugh.
I
And
have to,
because of something you have zero control over
yes,
too. Yeah.
exactly. And so I'm in classes that academically didn't challenge me, but physically I had to be in because they challenged my just the physical limitations. So
Yeah.
again, that was a form of loss, not because those classes are bad or wrong, or those people are bad or wrong in those classes, just because of the loss.
That's a
I know I'm supposed
future
to
you're
be right,
grieving that you
right,
were supposed to have that you're not going to have because
right,
all those classes help you get into better colleges.
right,
They help you sometimes the credits from them transfer over and you can
right,
go in as a
right.
sophomore. And yeah, that's, oh man.
So it was
And
just,
of no
again,
choice of your own.
yeah, that control taken away.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Oh man. So what was college like then?
College was incredibly healing. It was,
Oh, okay.
yes, it was deeply healing because so I went to Arizona State very specifically because of the vision loss. They are one
Okay.
of the top universities in the country for people with disabilities
Okay.
because being such a large institution, they have their own department that is very well integrated into the whole university.
Okay.
So I would go to them and they would say, okay, we're going to contact your professors and let them know you have double time on tests. You'll be taking your tests in our testing center rather than the professor handing you the test
Okay.
or making sure you have your textbooks in Braille or PDF rather than just going and buying a print textbook.
Okay.
So, what I mean by healing was it put me in an environment where having a disability, blindness, or any disability was okay and accepted.
Yeah.
Because being in high school, clearly I'm the only one. That's not right or wrong. It's just reality. I was the only one. So it felt, and I was the only one who was quote other, certainly disabled.
Yeah.
So being in an environment where it's just like, oh yeah, you have a guide dog, okay, whatever. That was totally normalized. That was such a source of healing because I was just another college freshman, another sophomore, another junior. Just it wasn't like, oh my gosh, you're the disabled one on campus.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's so healing. It was also healing emotionally because it taught me there are tools and resources available. I just have to learn the tools and resources.
So your high school didn't have anything to help you really then set up.
We had what I had was just being adapted class by class by class.
Right.
So I would have a teacher who would read tests to me or read textbooks to me or produce things in Braille. So we would just take it class by class. So that was great, but not on overall integrated into the whole school
Okay.
system.
Okay. Yeah. So then college, I feel like probably a lot of universities are probably a little bit better off
Oh
than
yeah, much,
high
a hundred
school.
percent, a hundred
So
percent, and especially now,
yeah.
even now more so than when I was in college in the early 2000s. It's very different, but yeah, so that was healing because it taught me, oh, I'm not the only one, and oh, there are resources out here that all I need to do is to tap into the resources, learn how to know what resources are available. So that was physically and emotionally healing.
Okay. So what kind of changes did you, probably some of this is obvious, but what kind of changes did you have to make once your vision was completely gone that were maybe difficult to do?
The most difficult or transition was the emotional mindset piece. That
Mm,
was much, much harder than the physical, 100 times over, because I was, like you said earlier, I was constantly grieving. So
mm,
I had to go through the start and continue through the grieving process while learning to accept myself in a completely different way
yeah.
and realize, yes, in those high school days, I'm saying I can't, I can't. And that's exactly how I feel. And I choose that I can because of the support around me. In college, in high school and college, the most difficult transition was the mental, emotional,
Okay.
100%. Learning I'm still me. I
Yeah.
just can't see as well. Like I didn't become some new person. Like I'm
Yeah.
still me, my personality. My brothers still treat me like his annoying little sister, which of course in the beginning I'm like, you're so mean. Just like I thought
Yeah.
of my parents. But now I realize, oh, that's a gift he could give me. He
Yeah.
wasn't like just, oh, I'm gonna coddle you now. So yeah, the emotional, mental adapting was way harder than any physical.
So you said college was healing.
Yes.
So so that was, it sounds like that was the beginning of your healing journey through this.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
also, at that point, had completely lost your vision, right?
Yes.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And then you've started this healing process of realizing you have all these resources and there are things out there that can help.
Yeah.
So how was that process then?
That process was a slow, ongoing process. So there wasn't one moment when I woke up and just said, okay, I'm done grieving. I feel good. Let's go. I'm done with
Yeah.
that. I'm through. I'm just emotionally healed. Let's go. But it was the constant, slow process of realizing, all right, maybe I can today. And then maybe I can for 3 days. And then 3 days
Okay.
became a week. And then a week became 2 weeks. So that's what I constantly talk about and speak on and coach on is that grit. That I learned the grit was not just pushing through, being strong, just figuring out a way to get through it and not acknowledge the pain, but acknowledging the pain while still choosing to move forward. And a mentor of mine gave me an incredible piece of advice in college. I was getting ready to start the freshman fall, and I was sitting in her office, and she just said, Laura, I just want you to know, you think you're through the grieving process. You think you went through the grieving process in high school. Yes, you did. That's true. But also, I want you to know the grieving process will go on for the rest of your life every day.
Yeah.
And she said, that's not a weakness. That's not a negative. That doesn't mean you haven't accepted your blindness. It's just part of your new normal.
Mm.
And my instant thought was, oh no, I'm good. No, I'm done. I've got that grieving thing down. I've checked that box. I can, no, I'm good. Maybe that's for other people, but not me. Like I'm done with the grieving.
Yeah.
But she gave me permission
Mm.
She gave me incredible healing because she gave me permission to continue to grieve what I did not have anymore while still choosing to have that grit and move forward.
Yeah, because if do you still find challenges every once in a while that
Every single
yeah.
day,
Yeah.
every single day. Yeah. Of that constant both and I grieve and I choose to move forward.
Yeah. There's a lot of people I know that have gone through stuff that are told, "Oh my gosh, you're so strong." And I've talked to so many people that are like, "Dude, I had no choice."
Exactly.
That's
That's the exact answer.
you're like, "What else am I gonna do? I'm
That is,
trying to have
yes.
to live my life and I have to push through this the best way I
Yes.
can."
Yes. I can't tell you how many people still say that to me. And it certainly in the beginning said that to my parents. Oh, I could never do what you're doing. And my parents' response is, you're just going to stop loving your child?
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. You
What does
just,
that mean? I could never do what you're
right.
doing. That's an interesting one to discuss too. I've never really thought about that one because it's no, because if you were in my shoes, you would have to do it. You
You
would
would have to
figure
do
it
it.
out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. My mom has a really good example that she talks about. Is interesting now that a couple years, maybe 2 or 3 years before all this happened. So I'm 6 or 7. She said, I remember reading an article in a magazine about a man who had lost his sight as an adult, not as a child in a parent situation, but as like a 40 or 50-year-old. And she just thought to herself, gosh, I have no idea how he does that. I just don't know how he does that. She just remembers that very like saying that to herself. And then when she makes the comparison, then when you're thrown into it and it's your life, you
Hmm.
don't have that time to say that or think that. It's just
Yeah.
figuring out the next moment.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to get through it. I have a really good friend that's going through cancer treatments right now, and people say that to her all the time. You're so strong. And she's just, what else am I supposed to do? I am fighting this cancer the best I can. I'm doing the treatments. Like, we
Yeah,
just don't have any other choice in those
right.
situations. And I think I'm really going to think twice next time I say that to somebody.
Yes.
Like, I could never do what you're doing.
Yeah,
If you were in my shoes, you'd have to.
you
So,
would. And I have to remember that they're saying that from their current lived experience.
yeah.
And I'm like, no, you couldn't because you're not asked to. You're not forced
Yeah.
to. But if you were just forced to, you just don't have a choice. You're in a totally different mindset, a totally different perspective.
And we all still have to live life. So you
Right.
have to figure
Right.
out how to do it the best way possible.
100%.
Oh my goodness. So this is an ongoing thing for you. So
Yes.
what is it like to navigate something like that is a constant in your life now, instead of it being a big event
Yes.
and then moving on from it?
So I very intentionally use the word when I'm speaking and when I'm coaching, working with people individually, navigating through change. Because from my own experience, because it is constant, is constantly navigating. Yes, I'm through the initial adjustment and adapting, but still every single day I have to adapt and adjust.
Mhm.
It's living in that space of that mindset of, okay, this is hard. Clearly, I wouldn't choose it. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And yet, I choose to move forward. I choose to focus on the gifts, the purpose, the meaning, the value that I still am.
Yeah.
So, getting to that place of, I know that I'm enough. I know that I'm a worthy person, and I still deeply grieve.
Yeah.
And that's constant as we go through life. Just recently, a real world example. Yes, I'm adjusted. Yes, I'm not in that initial college, high school days, but it's still the grieving continues.
Yeah.
I was getting so overwhelmed by a particular situation, and I just I can't handle this. I can't do this. Just burst out in tears. And then
Hmm.
I realized, I, after a good cry, okay, it's healthy, and I had to get that out and
Yeah.
release those emotions. And then what's the next thing I'm going to do? And just do what do I need to do the next hour? And again, that real world experience, a few hours later, there was already a dinner planned with some extended family member. My first thought as I'm sobbing was, I'm not going to dinner. I can't go. I'm a mess. I just want to sit here and cry.
No.
And then I thought, no, moving forward is going to that dinner and enjoying the laughter and the food and just enjoying the company. That helps me move forward, because that's again acknowledging the difficulty of the day and feeling overwhelmed, but also choosing to move forward.
I love that, because I love a good cry. I am a crier. I cry about everything.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think actually my sister texted me the other day and she was having a rough day. And I was like, have you had your cry yet?
Go ahead and get it out.
Get it out, but don't sit in it.
And that's the key. Don't sit in it. Because I wanted to make that a choice. Oh, let me just sit in it and not go to dinner and just cry. But making that choice of have that good cry and go to the dinner is telling myself and teaching myself and reminding myself, you do both at the same time. And this is real life. This isn't, oh, you're just going to cry, never going to cry again. It's you constantly do both in the span of 3 hours. Yes. So that's a real world kind of example of my mindset, my emotion day to day.
And what kind of tools did you use to help you get to that point? Were you meditating?
Yes.
Were you doing any of that kind of stuff?
Endless, holistic. So mindfulness meditation, mindfulness practices was a game changer for me. Learning, reading a lot of books on mindfulness, but I took an 8-week class where we had a teacher that led us through different mindful practices. So learning that thoughts are just passing thoughts, they're not facts. That gave me the perspective that I needed, because I thought, okay, if I think, oh my gosh, I'm anxious, then I'm going to be anxious forever. Rather than just let that be my current thought, my current state, and then I can choose what I do with that anxiety. Yes, mindfulness was incredibly healing. Exercise is incredibly healing as well.
Yes, I think that we don't talk about that enough right now. I think it's becoming more talked about, but in regards to mental health and how it makes you feel overall, not just to get fit, not just to lose.
And just that daily exercise is so incredibly healing, because your mind, or for me, my mind just focused on the exercise. Oh my gosh, this hurts.
Yeah.
But it's such a good to have those endorphins. That improves my sleep, but that improves my anxiety, that improves my depression. Just doing exercise outside, just in the nature of the sun. Another big component to the mindset, the healing, was my eating habits. So cutting out processed sugar, cutting out a lot of processed foods. I can't put into words how that took my anxiety from sky high to a manageable level.
That's amazing. How did you figure out what foods? Was that just something you worked on yourself, or was there like something that you were like, okay, there's like keto and there's carnivore and there's stuff like that? Or did you just do your own research and decide what to cut out for yourself?
I did both. I did my own research, and then I just tried everything. I would try the keto. I would try the vegetarian. I would try the meat. I would try the juicing.
Yeah.
I would just try everything and see what worked. To just find a healthy balance. And what I've also been very mindful of is keeping that 80-20 balance of, because there was a while where I was so rigid. I can't put one piece, I can't have one thing that's processed and I eat it one thing ever.
Yeah.
So just learning that balance of the majority of my food is healthy and organic and just good for my body, but yet I'm going to enjoy ice cream with friends or with family.
I'm a firm believer in anything in moderation is fine.
Yes. And there was that time where I was so strict. It was not healthy.
The other way.
Yes, I went the other way. And so again, okay, most of the time I eat healthy, but again, when I want to enjoy that ice cream or those French fries from Chick-fil-A, right? I'm going to do it and enjoy that.
Yeah.
So diet, or I don't even say diet because it's not like a certain amount of time, but eating healthy, creating that lifestyle and exercise, just incredibly healing. Essential oils have been very
Mm.
healing.
Okay.
Just to focus on the smells, the scent, again, just that natural application. So it's that holistic mind, body, spirit approach rather than just one source. It was just exercise. It was just therapy. It was just dieting. It wasn't one thing. It was all of them constantly combined.
Yeah. What kind of triggers do you have now that you're still trying to navigate through?
So the trigger now is what I was saying earlier of what I can easily go back to the mindset of this is too hard. I can't.
Uh,
I can quickly go back to that mindset, that high school girl perspective. And that and now when that happens, I now have the resources to say, breathe, focus on your breath,
mm,
and realize the current. Yes, this feels overwhelming, but what can I do in the next 5 minutes
mm.
to move towards that situation? No, I'm not going to solve it all today or tomorrow, but what is that? What
Yeah.
is that one thing I can do?
Is it mostly like a physical trigger that happens that you run into something that's hard to do and then you're frustrated and over it, or what brings those emotions on? Like what type of activities and stuff?
So yes, it is that, but mostly what it is, the trigger is of the I can't is mostly, oh my gosh, I remember how easy this was when I had sight.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I could do this on my own, or I'll get so frustrated, not necessarily at myself or the activity, but just get frustrated in general of I'm just so angry right now. I could hop in the car and drive myself to Walgreens and pick up
No.
blah, blah, blah. Yes, of course, I'm thankful for Amazon Prime, but they're just, that's my main trigger of getting frustrated, either what I could be doing by myself where now I need help and or remembering how easy it was when I
Hmm.
could see and how quickly I could get things done.
Yeah, I suppose that's pretty different from somebody who was born blind or went
Yes.
blind very early. You
Yes.
did have
Yes.
your vision and had, that normalcy back then.
Yes.
And yeah, I can imagine looking back at that. You made me think of, so my sister and I were big dancers growing up, and I've tried to get her back into it with me because I know she would love it. But she has said to me before, I just know how good I was back then. So I don't,
Yeah.
that was part of the
Yeah.
reason she didn't want to do it anymore. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but we're never going to be as good as we
Right.
were when we were 13 years old,
That's just possible. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a similar kind of theme of,
Similar.
yeah, thinking back to that.
Yes. And that's part of what I mean about that ongoing grieving because I'm
Yeah.
constantly grieving. Gosh, if I had sight, I could do this on my own. If I had sight, if I
Yeah.
still had sight, I could do this so much quicker.
And that could be a dangerous spiral, I would
Yes.
think.
Very
Because
dangerous.
then you're
Yeah.
doing all the what ifs.
That's what brings the anxiety and depression. Yes.
Oh,
All the
man.
what ifs. Yeah.
So tell me how nowadays has technology, I'm assuming, has gotten way better since you were
Yes.
in high school and college to help blind people out. So tell me a little bit about how that's changed and how much easier that's maybe made things.
Yeah. I laugh at it, but it's the honest truth. Like I talk to Siri and Alexa more than I talk to anybody else in the world.
I love that.
I am talking to them all day long, every day. So, yes, I'm deeply grateful for technology that with the access of Siri on iPhones and Alexa with so many appliances and just day to day life being connected, that makes the world accessible to me.
Yeah.
So it just, yeah, that is such a gift of technology. I know there's a lot of bad and negative, but it has been so just life changing for me to make my life more independent without technology. Just it would be possible, but just a lot harder. And
Yeah.
And again, that goes to the healing mindset piece of I had to get to that place of being deeply grateful for the technology, not just saying, yes, I'm glad Siri and Alexa are in my life.
Yeah.
But saying, okay, no, I'm really grateful that I can cook on my own through the Instant Pot that's accessible through Alexa. All the day to day things I have access to because of technology. So, not just taking that for granted, but from a mindset perspective, being very grateful for that. And the way I love to share a story, the way that I developed that gratitude was not at all from myself, not at all from my perspective of, okay, yes, I'm grateful that I have Siri and Alexa in my life.
Yeah.
But again, it was another interaction with a mentor. So I had a mentor of mine say, all right, Laura, I want you to start writing down 3 things every day that you're grateful for.
Okay.
Just think back over your day, 3 people, 3 situations throughout the day, write them down. And I don't want you to repeat. So I don't want you every day just say family food shelter. Yeah. She literally told me that. You can't say those. I want you to be very specific about that day.
Okay.
And when she said this, I'm at the end of high school, trying to figure out college, very depressed, very anxious, constantly losing more vision. And I thought, you're just not a good mentor because I had nothing to be grateful for. So it was only in my stubbornness that I said, okay, I'm actually going to be her mentor. And I'm going to teach her that that's just not good advice. And she never needs to tell another teenager that again. So I started to write down things I was grateful for. And what I realized was she was not saying be grateful for the blindness. She was not teaching me to be grateful for my depression, my anxiety, the change. She was teaching me to develop another perspective.
Wow.
And that perspective was be grateful for what helps you get through the blindness. So that's why I'm tying this to Alexa, to Siri. So rather than just saying, okay, yeah, they're there, that's good, they make my world easier. Having the mindset to say, gosh, I'm really, really thankful that I can use Siri to accomplish this task. I'm really thankful that I turn the lights on and off in my house through Alexa. Yeah. So rather than just taking those resources for granted, having the deep perspective of gratitude.
It's so important. I think that's so hilarious that you were trying to prove her wrong.
Oh, I was. And I was convinced I was going to do it. I was proud of myself.
Isn't that such a like teenage mindset?
Yes.
Adults probably think that about their therapists too. They're like, that's not going to work for me.
Of course. Yes. I was like, as a 17-year-old, I was like, you are completely wrong, lady.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. And at that age, like teens and early 20s, we think we have it all figured out.
Of course.
Oh, that's a great story. I'm so glad that what about going out in public technology? Has that improved really?
So that's improved as far as, again, people's mindset.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is just, it's not like I walk into a place and when I've had 2 guide dogs and both of them about 10 years apiece. So 20 years total of guide dog life. So when I first got my guide dog and I'd walk into somewhere, it's, oh my God, there's a person with a guide dog. And then fast forward to a year ago, it was just like, okay, there's just another human being walking in the store. So it has, as far as not necessarily, not from the perspective of technology, but from the perspective of just acceptance. Of just, okay, there's just another person in the restaurant, in the whatever, just in the world interacting. It's not, oh my God, you're a blind person. How'd you get here? How did you do this? Or whoever I'm with, it's not, oh, that's so cute. You're with a blind person. It's just, oh, okay, y'all are just doing your thing, being you. So the acceptance piece is an incredible gift that is very different
I love
from,
that because that means that our society actually is getting better at things,
yes,
even,
yes,
and I think that's a good message right now, right? Like
yes,
to hear
yes,
that
yes,
we are learning from our
yes,
mistakes. We are
absolutely.
becoming better people
Absolutely.
slowly, but
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I can tangibly, and even my parents, my family, my friends will tell you kind of in those early days, people would literally come up to my parents and be like, "Oh, that is so great that you have your daughter out in the world."
oh my gosh.
And now it's just, "Oh yeah, that's okay. That's just your family member, your friend, whatever. It's absolutely no big deal." So it just, yeah, tangibly, not only myself, but just my friends, my family can tell you just it has so been normalized, and that's healing. We can all just be ourselves and just, that's okay.
Constantly baffled by what people say to people.
Oh, me too.
And I'm sure I've been guilty of it too, but I'm like, what? Like, what? Your
Yes.
parents are just supposed to lock you in the
Yeah.
house and not take you
That's
out?
literally what my dad said because we were exercising at an exercise place. And I was on a stationary bike, and I don't remember what my dad was doing at the time, but someone realized that we were connected and pulled my dad aside and was like, "That is so good you got her out in the world." And he was like, "What am I supposed to
Gosh.
do? Lock you in your bedroom?"
Just because you can't see. You don't get to
Right.
leave the house anymore. You got to
Right.
stay there.
You got to stay in and not come out. And how do you, as the parent, respond to that? It's just, I'm just like, he's doing my thing as a parent, the best I can do. What am I supposed to do? What do you say? Thank you. I'm a great parent. It's just
Right.
you being a parent. So yeah, the comments and the things people say, I'm always, like you said, totally baffled.
I feel like I could do a whole podcast episode on people saying insensitive
Yes.
things in
Yes.
those
Yes.
in so many different scenarios.
Please let me be on that podcast.
It's wild to me.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
crazy.
Most of the things that people say, I'm like, if I repeat that, no one will really believe me. Someone actually said that.
Yeah. So, what about like when people try to give you solutions? I'm sure people try to solve
Oh
your
my
problems for
gosh.
you.
Every single day, they assume they know what's best.
Yeah.
And so, quick backstory on why, then what my response is going to be. That's another gift that my parents and my brother very much instilled in me was, okay, we are going to give you the tools, but it's up to you to figure out exactly what you need and what's best for you, and you have to learn how to communicate that to the world.
Mm.
And again, in the moment, it was like, you're being mean, just do it for me.
Yeah.
But what they were teaching me was, you have to know what is best for you, and then you have to be able to clearly communicate that to other people. So I share that to say that's just my mindset, how I've learned to adapt and advocate for myself. So many people all day long will do something that actually is not helpful. And so I'll give you a real world example. So there was several years ago, I went to a naturopath doctor's office one, like monthly or every 6 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a person there who every time I had an appointment, they would see like me get out of the car and open the door for me to the office, to the waiting room. For me, having a guide dog, that is not helpful because the guide dog is trained, once you orient her to the space, the
Mm.
guide dog is trained, walk right to the door and put your nose right below the door handle. So
Okay.
what I do is go, I know that where the dog's head is, the door knob is going to be right above. So then
Okay.
that's where I just grab it, open the door. So for me, it's safer because then I have control of how much the door is opened or closed. If
Right.
I don't know if the door is cracked or if it's completely open or 3/4 open. I don't know. So I need that control to open the door on my own so that I know how much it's open. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this person would just always open the door for me. And it actually made the situation more difficult and harder, not only for me, but very confusing for the guide dog.
Yeah.
Because they were like, what's my job? Like,
Yeah.
do I put my nose on the door that's already open? I don't know
Yeah.
what to do. So it wasn't helpful for me or the dog.
The dog doesn't understand chivalry.
Yeah. So that's where I have to communicate. I appreciate your help. I appreciate to you that seems like it's helping me, but actually that's making it much harder on me. And the same person would do the same thing when my appointment was over, when I was done checking out, they would automatically open the door for me. And I was like, that's really hard. It's much easier for me to go to the door. And all my friends, family, everybody knows, don't ever open a car door for Laura.
Yeah.
Put her hand on the handle and let her open the door. So again, she knows how much the door is open. So that's what I mean. It's up to me to clearly communicate, hey, it's really helpful. I know naturally for everyone's else in the world, it's compassionate if you open the door.
Yeah.
But for me, that actually is not helping me.
Was that hard to figure out? It sounds like your family was very nurturing in that regard, but like in the beginning, because I'm a people pleaser, so I could see me just being like, oh, it's fine, I'll figure it out. So was that uncomfortable for you, and did it take time for you to start
Remember, I'm
speaking?
from the deep Southeast. So being from South Carolina, you're Southern, you want to please, and then even more with the Southern on top of that, right? So you have the people pleasing and the deep Southern. Oh, I'm just okay. You know, you would never say that. Yeah, I had to learn. And that was a slower process for me because of that deep people pleasing and Southernness. You always want to be polite, but sometimes that politeness is harmful. Yeah, I had to get to that point where, Laura, do you want to be polite or do you want to stay safe? Because there were, again, using that example of the door handle, there were certain times where the door would be open. I didn't realize it, and I banged my head into the top of the car door. You know what I mean? So it's, all right, do you want to have bruises all over your face, or do you want to be polite?
Yeah.
So again, it's that survival, coping, adapting. So that's the mindset piece of you're just forced to say what you need rather than what your culture has taught you to be.
And that's really hard. But that's a really great real world example of, I know I'm guilty of sacrificing my own happiness for somebody else, but if you're sacrificing your own safety, you know, but I think it's still the same thing because you're sacrificing your own happiness is not a good thing for you to do for yourself either.
Yeah.
Oh man, so interesting. So tell me about your book really quick, The Harnessing Courage.
Yeah. So I wrote Harnessing Courage for there was a main purpose, and then there was a kind of a byproduct of the purpose. So the main purpose was to tell my story with the perspective of grit and gratitude so that my life could be a resource and be that support that I had received. So what I mean by that is once I was initially through that survival and I could reflect back, that's when I learned the grit and gratitude. That's when I realized those words was, wow, yes, that survival was really hard. And here's how I survived. I had incredible support. So I didn't want to just say, oh, I'm glad I had that support. Good for me. End of story. I was so passionate. And that's what my drive every day is, being that support for other people. So other people are also benefiting from the support I received.
Yeah, because it sounds like you had a really great support system in your family and your friends and stuff like that. And not everybody in your situation is going to have that. So.
Yes, that is extremely rare. Yeah. So the passion of writing the book was to tell my story, again, from that perspective of grit and gratitude, not to say, hey, you can use these resources if you're adapting to blindness, but just to say when anyone as humans are adapting to change. And it has been just the feedback, so many people from different situations have said, I'm going through this. I went through this with the family member, and the principles still apply.
Mm.
What I mean by the byproduct of the passion was, yes, that was my main drive for writing the book. A result of that passion was it was deeply healing for me to write it out,
Yeah.
to get the my life experience down on paper was incredibly therapeutic. So
Mm.
I can't recommend that enough to anyone, even if you don't publish a book, have no desires to write a book, think you're a terrible writer, whatever your perspective is. I just encourage people to write it out. Even if no one's ever going to read it, that's fine. It's just
Yeah.
deeply healing. The act of writing it, somehow getting it out of our body, that form of release,
Yeah.
is very therapeutic. So my passion was to share, but I also received healing as I wrote it.
Amazing. I love that.
And then, can I talk about the title, the name of the
Yes,
title?
yes, please do.
I was very specific. The Harnessing Courage, again, connected with that passion of why I wrote the book. Harnessing Courage, I was very deliberate on the title because the strap that goes around the dog, and then the end of the strap, which is the handle, which is what the person holds, what I hold on the guide dog, and then the handle that I hold, that's a harness.
Okay. Yeah.
So to hold that harness and trust that dog to
Mm.
physically move the world took a lot of courage. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to trust this little black lab to my eyes? Seriously?
Ah,
I'm not sure about that. I named it Harnessing Courage for the physical reason that I had to have courage to trust that harness to keep me safe. And also just the emotional, every day I had to harness the courage to have the mindset to move forward.
I love that. I
So
love that you
that's
put so much
why I
thought
named
into
it
that.
that title.
I love that. That's so good. So people can get that anywhere,
Yes, so
Amazon.
that's Amazon. Yeah, and that's my website anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So tell me about UB Global.
So that I formed that organization out of the same passion that I wrote the book. So the organization, I do professional speaking and coaching all around how do we as organizations and we as individuals adapt as we navigate through change. What resources do we have to get through change? So again, I'm so passionate about giving voice to how do we grieve the difficulty and move forward at the same time. And
Mhm.
doing both is equally as healing.
Okay.
So, as I referred to, that the mentor giving me permission to grieve just through the speaking and the coaching, giving people the gift of knowing it's okay to grieve and to choose to move forward, to be anxious and take that one step forward, do that, make that one phone call or send that one email that seems so difficult to call or
Mhm.
to send, just from my own lived experience. That's the passion and that's the force behind the speaking and the coaching.
Amazing. Real quick, let's talk about change for a minute too, because there are a
Yes.
lot of people, let's even just like small change. There are a
Yeah.
lot of people that really struggle with change.
Yes. Most of us do.
Yeah, and yours is on a much bigger scale and
Yes.
continuing, but there are people
But
out there that really
Mila,
struggle with just small changes in life.
yeah. Because it forces us to do life in a different way,
Yeah.
to
Oh,
do
that's
do
good.
life in another way than we're used to. It takes us out of our comfort zone.
And we're very
We,
much creatures of habit,
yes,
right?
yes, we can't just be an autopilot. Change change brings up a lot of fear, brings up a lot of uncertainty, anxiety.
Mm,
So to be able to accept that is reality, having those feelings of fear and anxiety and uncertainty, that's not bad. That's just part of our human experience. What
mm.
we do with it is what we have the power over.
And there's a bit of a control piece to that too, right? Like
Yes.
when things change and you don't have
Yes.
control over that,
Yes.
again, not even necessarily big changes that we're talking about here. Little changes can throw people off immensely because they don't feel in control anymore.
Yes. And again, for me, that was a big part of the mindset, the healing, realizing I don't have control over my vision loss. I do have control over my response to it. And so that's, again, also what I talk about so much in the speaking and the coaching is no, we can't control these changes that are happening to us, but we can control how we respond.
Yeah.
Are we going to be in the victim, constantly negative, have the change? Are we just going to be stuck in that fear, uncertainty, or are we going to choose to adapt and adjust and move forward into that new normal? So exactly what you said, controlling what we can control, because there's so much we can't.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so good. I just love it. It's so scary and so hard. And
Yes.
I don't know if I know a person that has never
Right.
struggled with those
Right.
two things.
I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, yeah. Change can be scary. It
Yeah.
really can.
Yes.
All right, so you do coaching, you mentioned. So what does it look like to work with you on a coaching level?
So I love the one-on-one work because that's where I can work with someone very specifically on the change that they're facing and help them to navigate forward section by section, moment by moment, day by day.
Okay.
So, for example, when I was working with an athlete who was just getting back into her sport after experiencing a major physical injury that took her out of sport for a while, the grit looked like first just believing in her when she didn't believe in herself. Because that fear was, oh my gosh, when I start playing the game again, start practicing again, what if that injury reoccurs?
Yeah.
The fear, the anxiety, or like you were saying about your sister, what if I'm not as good as I was before the
Yeah.
injury? That fear, giving her the vision and say, okay, let's just sit there for a minute. Just let's sit there for a second and feel that feeling, and then let's choose to do something with it. I remember one specific day when she was beating herself up because she's like, oh, I'm anxious. I shouldn't be anxious. I'm anxious, but I shouldn't be anxious. And I finally
Mm,
said, why should you not be anxious?
yeah.
Look what you've just been through, and just recounted. Okay, what if a good friend or a complete stranger came to you and you've gone through your experience? What would you say to them? And she, oh, I would just support them. And I was like, absolutely. So that's the gift you're going to give to yourself.
And I think validating those feelings for people is
Yes.
huge because we don't get
Yes.
enough of that. Like
Yes.
she's telling herself
Yes.
not to feel that way because she knows she probably shouldn't
Right.
for a million other
Right.
reasons. The reality is she feels that way.
She feels that way. And those were her words. She was, thank you for just validating me. I mean, that was probably the greatest gift that she took away from our time together is just, I validated. Yes, you have every right to feel that feeling. And you also have every right to choose what you're going to do with it.
Yeah.
So I would constantly say to her, feel the anxiety and then choose to let it not overpower you.
Yeah.
And so that's what we spent our time focusing on each session was how she can live in both worlds, feel the anxiety and then choose to move forward and return to her sport.
Amazing. So you prefer the one-on-ones then? You don't do any like group coaching or courses or
I
anything?
don't do coaching, or group coaching, but I love, love, love the speaking to groups and
Okay.
organizations because that's basically like a group coaching in a bigger sense.
Yeah.
It gives you the opportunity to present the ideas and then have the group bounce ideas back and forth on each other, how they can apply it to their specific change. And I'm just the facilitator, the
Yeah.
guide. So yes, I love, love, love both.
Amazing. And if people want to work with you, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
So the best way is my website. The laurabratton.com is all the information about the speaking, coaching, books, everything's there.
Amazing. And we will link that in the show notes. So if anybody wants to come work with you, then they can just click the link in the show notes and it'll bring them right there. Laura, this conversation has been incredible and I have thoroughly enjoyed talking to you and you are such an amazing spirit. What parting words do you have for my listeners?
So as you're going through change, know that you're still enough. The
Mm.
change, regardless of is it small, big, minor, major, whatever the change is, that typically can take our whole focus, and all we focus on is the change. So my advice and my parting words are, yes, you're going through change. Give yourself the space to greet the change, and also know that you're still you, and you being you is enough.
Mm, I love that. I think that's such a good message we all need to know.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your story. And I'm so sorry you've gone through everything you've gone through, but you are a beautiful soul. So thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Thank you for the opportunity, just creating this platform to be real and to give a space for people to benefit from all your episodes. So thank you for
Oh,
the platform.
thank you. Yes. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.